Hello, this is Jacob Hiller with the Jump Manual. I've got a lot of questions from athletes and players about whether or not the Jump Manual is the right thing for them to do at the time. So I prepared a list of frequently asked questions. You can see them on this page. I'm just going to kind of go over them with you. One of the main things I get is I am 12, 13, 11, 10, whatever, or I have a son or daughter of this age. Is the Jump Manual a good fit for me? That's a really good question because you obviously don't want to do anything that's going to cause harm or injury to your child or to yourself. However, what you need to keep in mind is that if you or your child is going into play the sport of basketball or any other sport, they're going into what I call an uncontrolled environment where they're using all of their athleticism that they can in an environment that they don't have a lot of control over. So if their body hasn't been prepared by already having intense training, they're going to be much more likely to injure themselves. So training yourself properly before you go into an uncontrolled game where there's people and feet and things going on that your body may not be prepared for, you're going to be much more likely to be injured. So intense training before the actual game time is not only going to increase performance, but it's also going to decrease the chance of injury because your body has already prepared itself for that type of intensity and will be more prepared for that type of environment. Another one is I am 27, 30, 35, 45, 55, whatever. So this is for the older age group who thinks, is this right for me? Am I too old for this? And I'm 35 now and I still jump 40 inches. And some people will tell me, hey, I'm 30. I know I'm too old for this. I know I can never dunk. Well, that's definitely not true. What you should really be thinking about is your biological age, meaning is your muscle tissue in good shape? Are your joints and tendons in good shape? If they are, then you are fit to start increasing your muscular performance. If they are not fit, then you need to focus on rehabilitation before you start increasing your strength and explosiveness levels. So the first thing to consider is your body fit for training at all? And if it is fit, then you can start training. And if it's not fit, then you need to think about how to rehabilitate and strengthen your body so you're ready to start training and performing again. Another question I get is, do I need a weight room to use the Jump Manual? You do not need a weight room to use the Jump Manual. There are plenty of, for every exercise we show you in the Jump Manual, we show you how to do that exercise without a weight room. Having a weight room can make things easier because you have all the equipment there. You can easily progressively overload your muscles. So there is potentially some ease of use by having a weight room, but a weight room is not required. I also get this question: can you really guarantee that I'm going to jump 10 inches in so amount of time, or 5 inches, or whatever? Can I really guarantee your gains? So if you're a trained athlete, let's say you've been training with a professional level trainer your entire life. I find that even those players who have trained with professional trainers can still gain a lot on their vertical leap because a lot of trainers aren't teaching you things like jumping technique. They're not showing you how to get the absolute maximum out of your training. So I see players who have come in with very high verticals and who are very trained, even professional level athletes who stack on 4, 6, 8 inches to their vertical by going through our program. However, if you are a new athlete, let's say you haven't been working, maybe you've gone to the gym, but you haven't done a lot of different training with high-level trainers, etc., you can definitely gain 10 inches or more on your vertical leap. What you got to think about is technique alone. Just by increasing how you jump, your body's efficiency at using the muscle and movements you already have. You could put 2, 4, I've even seen up to as 5 or 6 inches from technique alone. So that's just the technique side. Then you have your different muscle groups. You got your quads, your calves, your hamstrings, your glutes, your lower back, your shoulders, your core. By strengthening all of these, some people will do one thing, we'll do one exercise, but we'll be focusing on every single muscle you can, and we'll be focused on the exact proper joint angles and the explosiveness of each area. So you're going to start to build up very quickly. And when I say, 10 inches or whatever, I'm talking about your running vertical leap, because your standing vertical leap will not gain quite as much as your running vertical leap. Your running vertical leap will gain the most. However, you can still gain substantially. The most important thing to realize is no matter where you're at in your training, you can continue to make steady, noticeable gains on your athletic performance. Here's the other one. How fast will I see results? Oh, this is an interesting question. So with things like technique, you'll begin to see results today, because once you've mastered the technique, you can automatically see performance gains. You see, technique doesn't require your muscles to build back up and recover. However, aside from technique, when you break down your muscles, they're required to recover. So you may see an initial drop in performance and think, what's going on? This isn't working. But actually, it's a good sign. If you see a decrease in performance immediately, it means you're training the right muscles, because they're recovering and they're unable to perform at the same level until they recover. So they go down and then they go up further, and then it comes down and it goes up further. So that is how you start making gains on your muscle. There's one more aspect to consider, and that's the drive of your muscles. Your neuromuscular drive. That's the signals your brain sends to your muscles. Now, when you overload your muscles and you do proper shock training or plyometric training, your body learns nearly immediately to send stronger neural impulses to your muscles. So these are also gains that come very quickly within the first week or two. So once you've settled into your initial massive gains, you're going to just see steady gains that you'll notice either every week or bi-weekly. So it's very important to measure your vertical, and most of our exercises will have you measuring something so you can see the increases coming every week or every 2 weeks. What is the importance of a multifaceted approach? So there's some people who say things like, the calves aren't the main jumping muscle, so why work them out? Or, this or that exercise can only give you a little bit on your vertical, so why focus on it? Well, this is all about training economy. Most of us have the time to actually target every single aspect of our training, so why leave it out? If you have the extra time to work on your calves as well, and not only your calves, but your tendons, because tendons are very important for your vertical leap, then why not train everything you possibly can if you have the time and the energy and the resources to train everything? So I believe it's important, if you want to get the best possible results you can, even train the small things that will make a difference, because they all accumulate and give you an overall outstanding result. Another question I get occasionally is, hey Jacob, I already have a 40-inch vertical. Can I still make gains with the jump manual? You definitely can. I've never met one single person who is at their genetic potential, who's arrived at the best athlete they can possibly be. You can always improve. You can always get stronger. You can always get more explosive. You can always improve your technique. So it doesn't matter where you're at. I had an athlete come in a few years ago and already had a 40-inch vertical, and he quickly bumped up to a 45-inch vertical. And when you go from 40 to 45, it's a huge difference. Even though you're already jumping high, those extra 5 inches grab you rebounds, get you doing more dunks that you've never done, and all kinds of things. So you can definitely improve no matter where you are at. You have not reached your genetic potential. If you come into me and you tell me, I've had people come in at 30 inches saying, I don't think I can improve it anymore. Well, that's why it's important to learn how this works, how jumping works, how your muscles and explosiveness works, because then you'll realize you haven't done even a fraction of the things that you could be doing for your body. The other question I get is this type of training dangerous? I would say that this type of training is actually safer than not doing this type of training. Whenever you're doing anything when you're overloading your muscles, even playing the game of basketball or volleyball or any game, you risk potential injury. You can land wrong, you can tear a muscle, all kinds of things. So there's always a potential risk for injury whenever you're doing intense athletic events. However, by doing them, you'll be strengthening your muscles, you'll be strengthening your joints and tendons, and be more prepared to avoid injury. So is there a danger in doing training? Well, there's always a danger in doing any type of intense physical event. However, this will reduce those dangers and reduce the potential for injury as well. some people ask me how I'm qualified. This is always an interesting question, because when people ask me how I'm qualified, a lot of times they want to hear that I've certified with the American Council on Exercise, which I have, or they want to hear that I've trained professional athletes, which I have, or they want to hear that I've trained with Olympic athletes, which I have. They want to hear those types of credentials, and that's fantastic. I have those credentials. But I think what you should actually be asking is, how do you actually know these things? Because I've met trainers who have qualified, who are high-paid trainers, and I don't find their information very useful. And I've even had trainers at a very high level tell me that it's impossible to increase your vertical leap. And it really just blows my mind. How can these people train at such a high level and truly believe that they can't increase the athletic performance of their athletes? So where I'm actually proud of my qualifications is that I was an obsessed athlete since I was the age of 8, and I wanted to increase my vertical and I couldn't. It's the autodidactic, the self-learning that I've done that I believe actually qualifies me. You know, I bought a system to strap my muscles up to machines and see which muscles worked when I trained and which didn't, and how that correlated to the actual exercises I was doing. So I took my vertical to 44 inches just by learning this on my own, by figuring out and going through all the trials and trying all the programs and just not giving up. So how I'm actually qualified is that I've actually been through this myself. I've increased my own athletic performance myself, and I have the proof of it on my videos. You can see my own performance on YouTube or here. So that's how I'm actually qualified. And not only that, but my training and working with athletes, I have touched the lives, so to speak, and helped athletes of literally tens of thousands of athletes. And we have so many testimonials pouring in because we really have figured out what you need to do. We're not just going on, Google and saying, oh, that's what this trainer says, that's a good idea, that's a good idea. We did the research ourselves. We know what works and what doesn't. So that's how I would say I'm qualified. So what's the catch is another thing. This all sounds so great. What's the catch? Well, here's the catch. I can provide you the right information to do. I can try and motivate you. I can show you other people who have already walked this path and got the results that you're looking for. But it's not exactly easy. You have to be determined every day. And not only that, you just can't go through the motions. You've got to go into the gym and attack your training like you want it, like you're hungry for it. Because going through the motions will just keep you here. As you'll see in the jump manual, we talk about something called the improvement zone. And if you train below the improvement zone, you just never get results. Just like if you walk all day, you're not sprinting any faster, even though you've covered the same ground. You have to increase your intensity. And so when you go into the gym, you've got to find that level of intensity if you want to improve week after week after week. So, and you've got to consume the material. You've got to look at what I'm going to teach you. You've got to go through it. If you have questions, you've got to go to our support desk and say, hey, this doesn't make sense to me. And if you come to something and you're not feeling comfortable with it, you take a video of your exercises, because I have people who do the exercises for a month and they say, hey, what's going on here? And I say, hey, what I need you to do is send me a video of you doing the exercises, send me a video of you jumping, and I can see so clearly they have not followed the instructions to do the exercises properly. And so I point that out, and then they're back on the path of making good gains on their athleticism. So doing things right, taking the time to really learn the material, and just staying steady and keeping your intensity up is your responsibility. So if you do those things, our guarantee is that you will get those results. And if you don't, we back those up with our guarantee. So that's how this works. I hope this has answered some of your frequently asked questions. If you have more, feel free to submit them or go to our support desk, which we have manned at all times. So you will get a quick response from that. And I hope to hear your story, how it went for you, and see videos of your improvement. And I will talk to you guys soon.